Hey nerds, so I'm doing something a little different in this video. I want to go through all the new commander deck lists from Dragonstorm Tarkir, kind of give my thoughts, like a little review on them. Hopefully I'm not interrupted by my cats. And if I'm a little quiet, it's early. I'm probably up and in post, but if it sounds like I'm whispering, I just woke up like 15 minutes ago. So yeah, let's just jump right into it here. So there are 5 new precons. We have an Abzan, Jeskai, Sultai, Mardu, and Temur decks. So those are 3 color combinations if you're new to Magic. Abzan's white, black, green, Jeskai's blue, red, white, Sultai's black, green, blue, Mardu's red, white, black, and then Temur is green, blue, red. So we have called Abzan Armor, Jeskai Striker, Sultai Arisen, Mardu Surge, and Temur Roar. The Temur deck was just spoiled, so I actually haven't even looked at this deck list yet, so this will be fun for both of us. So the Abzan Armor is the first here. This is one I'm really interested in. It's like a Toughness Matters deck. So the face commander of the deck is a 4-mana 0/5. Each creature you control assigns combat damage to its equal to its toughness rather than its power. So a 0/5 creature will deal 5 combat damage, and then creatures you control can attack as though they don't have defender. So if you have a wall, it can actually just attack. And then you can pay 3 tap and sack another creature. You draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness, then discard cards equal to its power. So again, if you sacrifice a 0/5 creature, you would draw 5 cards, discard 0. So for 3 mana, that's a really good effect. You can maybe try to reduce it a little bit, where you can make this essentially like an Ancestral Recall, because it's not at sorcery speed. I don't think that's worth including, but you might want to. It's really good with cards like Staff of Domination if you end up putting those in the deck. Staff of Domination, you can untap an artifact. You untap this artifact, and then you can untap a creature. So if you can generate 5 mana from like tapping a mana dork, you can go infinite, which is really cool. The second commander is Betor, Ancestor's Voice. It's a 5-mana 3/5 Spirit Dragon with Flying Lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, you put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to 1 other target creature you control, equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn. And then you return up to 1 target creature with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. So some things to note about how life loss and life gain are tracked if you're new to Magic, or if you're a veteran, maybe you don't know this because its interaction doesn't come up that often. Let's say I'm at 40 life and I gain 10 and lose 10, and I remain at 40. I've still lost and gained 10 life, right? It doesn't matter what your ending life total is. So if you pay 10 life and then you attack with a lifelinker and gain 10 life, you still lost 10 life that turn. And if you exchange life totals with cards like Tree of Perdition or Tree of Redemption here, where it's a defender, it's a 4-mana 0/13, you can tap, exchange life total with this creature's toughness. So if you are at 40, you tap this, you go to 13 life. Let's say you have a way of untapping this and then exchanging your life total back. You've lost 27 life and have gained 27 life. So you can then put 27 counters on Tree of Redemption, and then next turn, if you can do that again, you've gained 40 and lost 40, and then you can put 40 counters on Tree of Redemption, and then you can just kind of keep doing that. So if there are only like 8 cards that let you exchange life, but this could be like a cool life exchange commander where if you're trying to do that multiple times in a turn to get a bunch of counters on like one creature, like Tree of Redemption. Now, in terms of reprint value, I'm not going to go over all of it. But there are cards like, where is it? Indomitable Ancients. It's just a 4-mana 2/10 vanilla creature. It was like $8 or $9. It's only been printed once. Kolfiner's Urn is a really good artifact. It's a 3-mana artifact. Whenever a creature with toughness 4 or greater is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may exile it. At the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more cards have been exiled with this artifact, if you do, return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. This was like not a super expensive artifact, but only had 1 printing. So I'm really glad they included it in the precon, because this would have been like an auto include if you're building a deck like this. Zetalpa was added, which I'm not thrilled about. So I'm hoping to get this deck. I'm definitely going to end up cutting Zetalpa here. Seedborn Muse is in the deck, which is really good. Dragonlord Dromoka is like $13-14 still. 6-mana 5/7. The spell can't be countered, flying lifelink, and opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Now, one notable thing is this deck actually has Ikra Shadiki the Usurper, which is a 5-mana 3/7 Snake Wizard with Menace. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness, which is cool, though it has partner. And there's another partner commander in here, Sir Kondo of Jimura, a 4-mana 2/5, has flanking. So whenever a creature without flanking blocks this creature, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn. And creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less in partner. So while you have the 2 face commanders, you also have a partner pair you could potentially run in this deck, which is really cool. Some other good cards I'm glad they put in. They're not expensive, but I'm glad they're in here. Axebane Guardian. It's a 3-mana mana dork with Defender. You can add X mana in any combination of colors or X the number of creatures with Defender you control. So this with Staff of Domination from earlier, you can just go infinite, which is really sick. There are plenty of ways to go infinite with this. There's a Pauper Defenders deck. If you're looking for like inspiration, check that out. Blight Pile. So if you can go infinite and you have Blight Pile out, you can just drain the table. Wingman Till Chapel gives you a bunch of 1/1 defenders. There's just like a lot of really good cards. Anguish Unmaking reprint, solid like removal spell. My biggest complaint, I think, in the deck, actually before we get that, Will of Abzan, it's 4-mana sorcery, choose one. If you control your commander, choose both. So any number of target opponents each sack a creature with greater power among creatures that player controls and loses 3 life, and then return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You really want your commander out for this. If you don't, I think you're just playing the first ability. I don't know how often you want to pay 4 mana for a reanimation effect when there are like plenty of other much cheaper ways to do this, especially in Abzan colors. You have like reanimate, like life death, right? Life death. So you have cards like life death, which is just reanimate for 1 more mana, reanimate, which is still a little expensive, but like it's just way more efficient. Animate dead, not animated, animate dead. Like there are just so many different ways. And these are a little bit more expensive, but their life death is 16 cents. So, but my biggest complaint with the deck, and it's not even that big of a complaint, it's just the mana base. But like if you're starting out, these precons are really good. The one card I wish they put in the deck was Tree of Perdition. It is $6. It was just reprinted in Innistrad Remastered at Rare, so that's nice. It's like Tree of Redemption, but you exchange your opponent's life total with this creature's toughness. So you take someone and make their life 13, and then this creature's a 0/40. So if I get the precon, I'm definitely gonna pick one of these up and just like cut Zatalpa for it, like pretty easily. But the mana base is my only thing that I'd really want to say, like, if you get this, maybe work on upgrading it. It has one of the slow lands, which is nice. Some of them are a little bit more expensive. Some of the I think it's Deathcap Glade it just reprinted $5. So you have like Deathcap Glade you could put in this deck. You can get, I think they have all the pain lands in here. No, they have no pain lands. They really don't have any pain lands in here? They don't. So I would say pain lands. Can I just search tag pain? No. I know there's a way to. Shivan Reef. Let's just find a random pain land. Open Scryfall Tagger. Cycle pain land. Here we go. So Brushland, Caves of Koilos, and Llanowar Waste would be really good. They're all untapped duels. So I really like those. But for the most part, like this is like a solid deck. And again, even though Zatalpa's in here and it's kind of a meme, it's not that bad, because if you can just reanimate it with Bedor if it goes into the yard. And it's a 4/8, so it's not the worst. I've seen this card a lot, so I'd probably end up cutting it. Hornet Nest is a fun card. Yeah, just a lot of like really good cards. Like I'm glad they put Assault Formation in here. I wish they put like Doran the Siege Tower or what. Yeah, like they could have put Doran in the deck, or Coffiner. Last of the you. Here we go. The last you. Coffiner. It's from our Commander Legends. It's a 5-mana Abzan Commander. Vigilance Reach, 3/7. When it or another creature you control dies, return up to 1 target creature card with lesser toughness from your graveyard to your hand. So there are definitely some cards you could add to the deck, but all in all, I'm like really happy with this list. Next up is Jeskai Striker. So it's, like I said, Jeskai is blue, red, white, Shiko and Narset unified. 4 mana, 4/4, flying vigilance. It has flurry. So whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy that spell if it targets a permanent or player, and you choose new targets for the copy. If you don't copy a spell this way, you draw a card. So if you're copying either a burn spell, a targeted draw spell, I'm going to say Ancestral Recall even though it's banned, but cards like it where it says target player draws cards, you can target yourself with it to draw. Any like removal, anything like that is really good. And if you don't copy, you still get a draw card. So if you don't want to copy a burn spell or a draw spell or any interaction, you can just draw, which is great. And then Elsha, Threefold Master, is a 3-mana 1/1 with Trample Prowess. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 monk creature tokens with Prowess. Really good effect. I would be hesitant to have that as my commander personally. I'm not a huge fan of commanders that have to deal combat damage, because I feel like they draw a little bit more hate, and I'm not interested in like knocking a person out because of commander damage. Like if I'm playing a Voltron deck, yeah, obviously. But in this case, I would rather have this in the 99. But that's just a personal preference. Like if you play this, more power to you. Like no complaints from me here. So this deck is actually like pretty decent. We have like a Mana Form Hellkite, which I don't remember how much this thing was. Okay, it was a few bucks, but I love that card. It's really cool. I'm glad they put Stormkiln Artist, Third Path Iconoclast, Gutter Snipe, Goblin Electromancer. Love that art. Young Peasy. Veyran's a really good reprint here. One of the dragons from Strixhaven. I'm glad they're putting these back in the set. That's actually really cool, given the dragons theme of a lot of like the entire set. Archmage Emeritus, Monastery Mentor reprint's really good. Mangara the Diplomat's a solid reprint. Ghostly Prison's fine. I love the Impetus cycle. Curse of Opulence is also that's one of those cards that's just like kind of gone up there in overtime. Okay, it's come down. Oh, they've reprinted a bunch. That card used to be a little expensive. Signets are great, like Soul Ring, obviously. Narset's Reversal is a really good reprint. That card was getting up there. So I'm glad they, because it only had like one or two printings. So I'm glad they put that in there. Sublime Epiphany is a great card. Prismari Command's fun. Magma Opus is fun. Abrade Big Score. Just like really good options in here. Rite of Replication was getting kind of expensive. Oh, I thought it was getting up there. Oh, I thought it was in Foundations. I forgot it was in there. So I think Veyran's probably like the most expensive card in the deck. Even like Preordained Ponder are a few bucks. So if you're looking for some like really good like just Jeskai staples, this is a really good precon to pick up. And it looks fun. It looks really solid. It's Jeskai spells, but like if you put Elsh in the front, you can play it as a combat trick deck. I'm trying to think of how good Elsha is. I mean, it has prowess, but I really would want to put like combat tricks in the deck if I'm playing Elsha as the commander instead of Shiko and Narset. I'd rather play like Tifa Battle Rage or protection spells like Shadow Rift or evasion like Shadow Rift, where you could just give this thing basically unblockable for the most part. But as like if you want to just throw it in, I think it'll be fine. You'll have to play a lot of spells to get through, but that's okay. It's prowess, so it's non-creature spells. So all your artifacts, all your enchantments. Also, the curve is pretty low-ish. I mean, you have a 7-drop dragon here, 4-mana commander, 37 lands, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. There's probably close to like 45, 46 ramp pieces in the deck with Goblin Electromancer for some of your stuff. So I think I would like to see a little bit more like artifact ramp if I was changing the deck and maybe cut some of the like this. I mean, you could make a treasure token with this, sure, but I would probably cut some of the more expensive spells. Like, I like Mana Geysers in here. Will of the Jeskai is cool. 4-mana sorcery. Each player may discard their hand and draw 5 cards. So it's a worse Wheel of Fortune, because it's a May trigger and it's only 5 cards. Or you can each instant sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback till end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost, which is literally just Past in Flames? I can't spell. Past in Flames. Yeah, it's Past in Flames without flashback. But I mean, that's still like a really good, if you discard your hand, draw 5, and then you have Past in Flames, that's like good for 4 mana. That's a good effect. Again, I'm not as interested in this one for me personally, but I also don't super love Izzet or like Jeskai decks in Commander specifically. So this will probably be a pass for me, but this is a really cool deck. I would be hesitant to maybe give this to a new player in Magic. I've always found spell decks to be a little complicated for like very new players to either Magic or Commander. More so Magic. I think if you play a lot of 60 card Magic, you can kind of pick this up. Oh yeah, there's also this card Tempest Technique. It's a 4-mana enchantment aura with Storm. Enchant creature you control. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. So if you don't know what Storm is, it's when you cast a spell, you copy it for each spell you've cast before it this turn, and you may choose new targets for the copy. So if you've cast 3 spells before you played this, you get 4 copies of it because you get the original and then 3 additional copies. So that's fun. I want this card for an aura deck, not for this deck. All right, next up is the Sultai deck. So it's Kotis, Sib-Sig Champion, 3-mana, 3/3 Zombie Warrior. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard by exiling 3 other cards from your graveyard in addition to paying its other costs. So it's kind of like Escape 3, but only for creatures. And then whenever more creatures you control enter, if one or more of them entered from your graveyard or was cast from your graveyard, you put 2 counters on Kotis. Fine card. You only do this once a turn, but you can not reanimate, you still have to like pay costs and stuff for it. But it's fine. It's like gives one creature escape once a turn from the yard. And then it gets bigger, but it has no keywords on it. So you're just putting counters on this thing to grow it, but doesn't have any way of like really cracking in. Even like lifelink would have been nice, or just a keyword on this to like really make you want to put counters on it. The next one is Tevel the Balanced Scale. It is a 4-mana 4/4 Spirit Dragon with flying. Whenever they attack, mill 3 cards. You may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. Oh, so I have a Tormod deck, or I had a Tormod deck. It has since come apart, unfortunately, where whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. And I had it partnered, and it was Golgari. So basically the idea of this deck was move creatures in and out of your graveyard and exile them. This is what Tormod did, but better, and has blue. So I might have to put that deck back together, even though I just took it apart like 2 months ago. Sick card. So this deck is all about just mill, getting stuff into your yard, and then bringing it all back. Diviner of the Mist is a new dragon, 5 mana, 4/5 flyer. Whenever this creature attacks, mill 4 cards. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard with mana value 4 or less without paying its mana cost. If that spell be put into your graveyard, exile instead. So that's great. If there's enough, there's not a ton of instants or sorceries in this deck. There's 19 total. So I feel like this is a card that will be a really good card in other decks. And this might be really good in the Jeskai deck, where you can get stuff into the yard to then cast. Floral Invoker. My cat's about to photobomb this. 3 mana, 2/3 Snake Druid landfall. Put a count plus landfall. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Pay a green, discard a creature card. Return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is really good because you can just kind of keep putting cards in and out of your graveyard. Now, Diviner of the Mist is really good, right? Because when you exile, if you're exiling a card, when you cast an instant card from your graveyard, it is leaving the graveyard and going onto the stack. You're not going outside, cat. Sorry, my cat wants to go outside onto the patio, and there's a kitten out there who we think might be a stray, and they keep hissing at Noodle keeps hissing at her. So Noodle's staying inside for the time being. Gravecrawler's a great reprint. So yeah, this is like a really cool Colossal Grave Reaver. When it enters or attacks, mill 3. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put one of them onto the battlefield. This is a really good reanimation target, especially being 8 mana. Can I help you, sweetheart? I'm trying to ruin my lighting. This cat ruining my lighting. I'm moving this in. Obnixilis the Fallen's a really good reprint. Landfall. You may have target player lose 3 life, and then you put 3 counters on this guy. Hedron Crab, surprisingly good reprint. Very like an expensive card for a random uncommon. Landfall. Target player mills 3. Life from the Loam, another great reprint. Really good art. I like Afterlife from the Loam. It's an 8 mana spell with Delve. For each player, choose up to 1 target creature in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. They are zombies in addition to their other types. Mana base, pretty solid. Again, I would probably cut any of these like slower tap lands for either more utility lands, Field of the Dead potentially, just faster lands, or cards like maybe Dust Bowl or Field of Ruin if you want to try to fit like a colorless land or two. That way you can have ways of repeatedly sacrifice lands to put into your yard to then bring back. Conduit of Worlds is a great reprint. It's a Crucible of Worlds, but you can also cast a non-land permanent if you haven't cast a spell this turn. Harrow's great. Grizzly Salvage great. Grapple of the Past is great. Like, not like super expensive. Phyrexian Reclamations actually was getting up there. So dollar-wise, yeah, that's a really good reprint. I might have to see. I haven't read all the cards yet, and this being Tormod but better because it's a 4/4 and has flying, and it does something like it mills when you attack. It's just so good. I might have to rebuild Tormod with this. I might have to build this. Next up is the Mardu deck. So Zurgo Stormrender, 3 mana, 3/3 with Mobilize 1. So whenever this creature attacks, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature token. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Whenever a creature token you control leaves the battlefield, draw a card. If it was attacking, otherwise each opponent loses 1 life. And then Nerev Crackling Vanguard, 5 mana, 4/4 Spirit Dragon. What are you doing? Are you playing with the blinds? You're jumping down. Spirit Dragon, Flying Death Touch. When this creature enters, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Whenever they attack, whenever this creature attacks, exile a number of cards from the top of your library equal to the number of differently named tokens you control. During any turn you attacked with a commander, you may play those cards. Okay, so it's like Impulse Draw, but you can actually play them again. Like, you can potentially cast them again later if you don't need them that turn, or play them so you can play lands, which is really good. Looking at this deck, Adeline Resplendent Cathar, really good reprint in this deck. Angel of Invention I really like seeing in here. We have one of the new cards. It's a Anic Strike Leader, 2 mana, 2/2 Dog Warrior. Whenever you attack with this creature and or your commander, for each opponent, you create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. Sacrifice this creature. Creature tokens you control gain indestructible till end of turn. That's a cute card. I have a feeling some of these cards might end up seeing play in 60 card like Eternal formats. 4 mana, 3/3 Iron Will Forge has Lieutenant, so at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, target non-legendary creature you control gains Myriad until end of turn. So whenever you attack, for each other opponent, you create a tapped token that's tapped and attacking. So if you were to attack with a Sun Titan, you'd get 2 more Sun Titans. You wouldn't get the attack triggers because they're coming in already attacking, but you get their enter the battlefield triggers. So that's really good. So it looks like it's just, oh, Yawgmoth Praetor, good reprint. It's a standard card. I feel like it's a little pricey. Yeah, $7, $8, $9. Like that's a good reprint, especially since it's still standard legal. I'm surprised they're doing that in a precon. They haven't usually put like standard legal cards from like older sets in, but rotation's happening soon, so it's fine. Yahenni Undying Partisan, not expensive, just a solid reprint in here. Morbid Opportunist is good. There's one card in here I thought that I saw that was a pretty good reprint value-wise. Gold Knight Commander, I want to say this has been arena only card, or maybe I'm crazy. Nope, there's a card I'm thinking of that kind of looks like that. What card am I thinking of? Not Mindblade Render. Anyways, oh yeah, all these cards in here seem like really like just solid. I kind of like Amiria Angel. It's landfall, but if you're exiling cards with your commander or other effects in the deck, it's fine. A Blade of Selves reprint, I love seeing. Great card. I think it's only had like 2 printings, 3, I guess, in Commander, a Commander deck, a Commander Anthology, and in Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. Equipped creature is Myriad. It's just fun. Lightning Greaves reprint, really good. Skull Clamp reprint, really good. These cards are always like a few bucks, so I love seeing that. I wish we had a little bit more ramp other than just like 2 Talismans and a Wayfarer's Bauble, but the curve of the deck does seem like pretty low for the most part. Legion Loyalty is a really good reprint. It's an 8-mana enchantment, creatures you control of Myriad. So this is like a white, well, I guess white creator already exists, but this is a white win condition, like for a lot. It's a lot of mana, but it is really good. Divine Visitation I like. It seems to have like anti-synergy with the other commander because you want differently named tokens. And if you make a bunch of creature tokens, you're making a bunch of 4/4s. But I think you'll be okay if you make like 4 or 5 4/4 flyers with vigilance, like within range. This kind of reminds me of Radon from Elden Ring, with just all like the arrows, the purple arrows raining from the sky. 4-mana enchantment. When this enchantment enters, you make 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. Whenever you attack, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creatures attacking them. Again, this is like a solid card. It's specifically warriors. Well, no, it's whenever they attack. I don't know why I thought warriors. It's the warrior tokens. Solid card. Commander Insignia, 4 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. So this could be really cool. I don't remember seeing this card. I'm assuming it's not a new card. No, it's from the Commander decks 2019. Okay. And in the starter deck commanders. Cool. Yeah, all in all, the Least Revenant Medium's a really good card in this deck. 5 mana for 3/4. At the beginning of your end step, create X 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, where X the number of tokens you created this turn, and that's on each end step. So if you have a card like Smothering Tithe, which you could, if you make a bunch of treasures on other people's turns, you get a bunch of tokens. I played this deck for a little while and it was really good. All in all, this seems like a really solid deck. Like if you're looking for like a Mardu deck, like a more combat focused like tokeny deck, I mean, Kaya Ghost Hunter is pretty good. Its -2 is a doubling season, so it's a 3 mana, 3 loyalty planeswalker. It's +1 creatures you control gain death touch till end of turn and put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature token you control. That's fine. -2 until end of turn. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many are created instead. So it's a little bit more fragile because it's a planeswalker, not like an enchantment. However, it's still a doubling season effect, which is really good. Yeah, honestly, right now, I think in the precons I would want to get, I guess I'll go over this at the end too. Oh, I'll save that for the end. And last but not least, we have the new Temur precon. Now, I haven't looked at any of these cards yet, so we'll see how this goes. So, Jeskai Temur's Roar is a 3 mana 2/2 human warrior. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. If that spell's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. If that spell's power is 6 or greater, this card deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So you can, if you pay a 6 mana creature, you put a counter on it, you draw a card, and you deal damage to an opponent. Each of those, you don't get like, it's not like modal, so you don't get either one of them, like any of the 3 options. You don't like get only the last one. You get, as it resolves, it checks each of those things. I'm explaining that poorly, but so if you cast a 4 mana, a creature with power 4, you would draw a card and put a counter on this creature. If you cast a creature spell at all, you just put a counter on this creature. I think that makes sense. And then Urani the Unwritten is a 7 mana 7/7 Spirit Dragon with flying and trample. I wish it was a 6 mana 6/6 so I could put it in my Colossal Dreadmaw deck. Whenever it attacks or enters, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a dragon creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I'm assuming this is in the deck, but I'm gonna bring it up anyways. Miram Sentinel Worm. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token copy of it, except it's not legendary. So if you have this out, and then you play this, you just get 2 of them. Let's see if it's in the deck. Oh, actually, I don't see it in the deck. Why there's so much red. You might want to pick this up for the Temur deck. It has gone up in price. This card, whoa. When did this card get so expensive? This card used to be like, yeah, this card was literally $1. Maybe don't pick one up for the deck. Holy cow. Well, I hope you have one when they were $1. Anyways, back to here. Let's take a look. So there's a lot of red in this deck, like a lot of red, a lot of double red in particular. So we're gonna look. Glorybringer, good dragon, solid. Hellkite Courser. What are some of the new dragons? Let's take a look. Deceptive Frostkite, 2 mana, double blue, 1/1 flying. You may have this creature enters a copy of a creature you control with power 4 or greater, except it's a dragon. It introduces other types and is flying. Okay, it's a cool clone effect. Double blue for this though. I'm curious what the mana base is going to look like. Hammerhead Titan, 6 mana 6/6. Hey, I can put in Colossal Dreadmaw. Flying, whenever you cast a spell, return up to 1 target non-land permanent an opponent controls mana value less than or equal to the spell's mana value to its owner's hand. So whenever you cast, so whenever you cast a spell, so if you cast a 5-drop, you can return a non-land permanent with mana value 5 or less to its opponent's hand. Sure. Parpet Thrasher, 4 mana 4/3 flying. Whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to an opponent, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Destroy target artifact. This creature deals 4 damage to each other opponent. Exile the top part of your library. You may play it this turn. That's a fine card. Thundermane Dragon, 4 mana 4/4 flying. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells with power 4 or greater from the top of your library. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste till end of turn. Cool card. They put the Kamigawa dragons in here. So Kega the Tide Star, Atsushi Blazing Sky. Oh, one more. Broodcaller Scourge. 7 mana, 5/7 flying dragon. Whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player, you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to the damage from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay. So this is pretty good. So it looks like this is even though this commander doesn't care about dragons, they made like a dragon deck, which is, I think, fine. Which, if you want dragons, this is good. I really wish they put Sentinel Worm in here though. This card is spiked. It'll probably come down. But holy cow, this card was literally like nothing. Like it was a bulk rare for like most of its existence. Even during spoiler season, like it was $6. So I'm really sad not to see it in here. And they put Sarkhan Soul of Flame, which is still in standard in the deck. Just doing a quick look at all the creatures, that is a lot of red. I understand that they were like going for dragons. This is weirdly, I think, my least favorite Precon. I mean, Leyline Tyrant is a really good reprint. That card was getting up there. Oh, I thought it was way more expensive still. It had come down $3. Okay. I don't know why I thought the card was way more expensive. Rapacious Dragon. Oh yeah, the new omens. These aren't adventures, these are omens. So instead of going to exile, you shuffle them into your deck. Will of the Temur. So it's a 6 mana sorcery. Choose one if you control your commander, choose both. Create a token that's a copy of target permanent, except it's a 4/4 dragon creature token with flying and addition to other types. Fine. Target player draws cards equal to the greatest mana value among permanents you control. Probably targeting yourself with this 9 times out of 10. Let's see what ramp they have. Oh, Savala Stampede. Really good reprint. You basically vote for wild or free, and then you can put cards from the top of your library for each wild vote, and then cards from your hand for each free vote. You generally pick the one that's coming out of your hand. Yeah, this card's only been printed one other time in paper, $7. So solid reprint. Storm's Wrath is fine. Zenith Festival, X, red, exile the top X cards of your library. You may play them until the end of your next turn, and it has Harmonize for X, red. So when you cast this, you can tap a creature you control to reduce the amount of that spell's generic mana by the amount of power. I said that so poorly. If you harmonize this from your graveyard and you tap a 5-drop, it costs 5 less, so you're paying red to exile 5. Dragon Horde, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Fell Warstone, 2 Talismans. Chaos Warp Beast within, that's good. Oh, Elemental Bond was also, I think Elemental Bond was getting up there in price too. Yeah, it was like not super expensive, but more than I want to pay for that card. Breaching Dragonstorm, from the set, Temur Ascendancy, Frontier Stage, Reflections. So this card, like all in all, or like this deck, well, we have 37 lands, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Unless I'm missing something. Is that only 9 ramp spells? I'm only counting 9 ramp spells in the deck. Sarkhan reduces your dragons, so like that's a ramp spell, sure. Oh, Dragonlord of Tarka's I think that's a solid reprint. Yeah, another. I mean, the original printing is $5, but still, like it's good to have. I'm a little less happy with this precon, and not just like the reprint value. Yeah, it's fine. Like not even just the reprint value. Like I understand what they were going for, but no go Drago Zealot, 3 mana 3/3 Kobold Shaman dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever this creature attacks, if you control 3 or more dragons, till end of turn, this card becomes a dragon with base power. That's funny. Where's this card from? I haven't seen this card before. Is it new? Oh, Game Night's Free for All. Okay, well that's a good reprint at $25 being the only other printing of it. Overall, I'm really not thrilled with the Temur deck. This feels like the most disjointed out of all of the other precons. Obviously it was going to be a dragons deck, right? Because if we go back to the very top and look at the pictures, it's ramp mana to summon dragons, and we're ramping, but unless I'm missing something here, I don't see like a ton of ramp. Like if you're telling me you're ramping, I expect there to be, I mean, you have Frontier Siege, which I guess, but it's like 4 mana ramp. Encroaching Dragonstorm, again, 4 mana ramp. Like I would really have loved to see a Cultivate, a Rampant Growth, a Nature's Lore, maybe like just a pretty like bog standard Temur ramp package in here, and like signets or more talismans. Like the curve of this deck is super high, right? Like, can I sort by cost? Yeah, you have 13 cards at 4, so 23, 33, 37. So 37 of your cards are 4 or greater, and then your lands. So you have 13, 16, 25 cards that are 1, 2, or 3. Like a quarter of your deck is 3 or less. I don't know. It just seems like it's not enough ramp. Like you have obviously ways of reducing dragon spells, but and those that is ramp, but I also want to see more like land ramp so you can play like Selvala Stampede or Become the Avalanche. Like it's a little weird to me that there's not more ramp in the deck. Oh yeah, it has the breakdown here. Just a lot of it's a lot of red. It's a half red, more than half red. It's not a bad deck. It's not a bad deck. It's just not what I was expecting. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's go back over all these real quick. So in terms of what I like the most and what I think is going to be a good pickup, I think if you're super new to Magic, maybe avoid the Jeskai deck. It does have solid staples in it though. The Abzan deck is what I'm getting probably. It seemed really good. The Sultai deck, if you like graveyard shenanigans, I like this alternate commander, not the face commander, a lot more. The Mardu deck also seems really fun. And then the Temur deck I'm a little disappointed in. If I had to rank them, it would be Abzan, Sultai, Mardu, Jeskai, Temur in the order that I really like them. But get whatever you really like. And let me know in the comments what you think of which precon you're getting and what you're excited for. Alrighty, nerds. I'll see you in the next one.